Welcome back to another episode of With a Grain of Salt. I am your host, Isaiah Salter.
I'm Tom Andino.
And we appreciate you for being back for yet another episode. We have the man of the hour, Tom Andino, back for another episode. Yes. It's been too long, man. It's been too long. I mean, I guess we'll start off with how you're doing.
I'm good.
You good?
I'm great.
Yeah. That's good.
Having a good summer, doing well.
Yeah, I know our conversations are usually structured more conversational and we kind of just go with the flow. But this episode, I really want to be intentional with the topics and exercise just the way that your mind works around certain topics and things that I feel like you're very passionate about and knowledgeable on and have helped me a lot with.
Sure.
So, Tom Andino, what does true human connection mean to you beyond the surface level interactions? You know, when you think of human connection and, you know, just how you've been able to evolve in your own life with relationships and in different settings and stuff, what does it really mean to you when you hear that word?
To me, it means being in dialogue with someone and not just talking, paying attention to what is said, what isn't said, to build human connection, to not get away from it, but go deeper than superficial. Mm-hmm. We're comfortable at the surface, you know, and to go deeper is demanding, and it requires something of both parties. And that's key, because you might be willing to open up right away, but if the other person isn't, and you're 50 feet below and they're still at the surface, it's really hard to make that connection that you're looking for. So to be able to dig deeper together, I think, to create that safe space. It's, you know, at the beginning, it's like playing ping pong or tennis. You know, you play and I'm not sure how you play, but after a while, like, you know, you're pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Or let me see if I can like pull one over on.
Yep.
Oh no, he picked up on that. Like conversations are like that, you know?
That's a great analogy.
I'm not saying walk in and meet a stranger and say, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. But if you're invited into the other person's life, like if they are willing to be vulnerable and authentic, then you should, in whatever way you're comfortable, do the same. That's what creates connection, I think. And once you have connection, if the other person starts to matter to you through that encounter, then you both have found a space for belonging. It starts with connection. Connection plus mattering equals belonging.
Do you remember the first time you really felt a genuine connection to somebody? Like, do you remember that moment where it kind of clicked and you started to kind of base your, you know, new relationships off of that new profound understanding of feeling the connection and seeing how it manifested in your life?
I don't remember if it was always the case. You know, I do remember that moment in that conversation that I had with my friend Jake in October of 2019. That was a game-changing moment for me. And if it did nothing else, maybe I was always like that, but it opened my eyes to see it or to be aware of it. And so now I'm much more mindful of that when I meet people or first encounter them. And that's such a big word and buzzword these days. Accompaniment, encounter, like everybody's using it. Yeah. But they weren't 5 years ago when this all started. 6 now. It's almost 6 when this started for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, and you've met with so many different people and you've seen so many different, you know, diverse journeys and stuff. Why do you think so many people struggle with finding belonging in today's society and finding true connection? You know, I feel like so many people are, and you know, it's you know, social media has a lot with this too, with just being able to portray being okay when you're really not, being able to portray I'm this and that when truly deep down you feel incredibly lonely or lost. So yeah, why do you think some of that lack of connection or belonging kind of persists today?
I think for a couple of reasons. I think one, I think we're conditioned now in the world that we live in to be in response mode. So we're not in an environment that fosters or rewards deep listening.
Wow.
We read something, I have to comment on it. I have to react like immediately, or put my 2 cents in. That's what social media has allowed us to do. And so, like, being able to step back and reflect is part of it. And I think a lot of people, I think also because of social media and technology and the way that everything comes at us, I don't think most people find themselves interesting. And if somebody else finds you interesting, sometimes the reaction is they're weird.
So
Right?
true.
Why do they want to know this about me? Or we're so skeptical. We're waiting. Okay, are they going to ask for money at the end of this? Is there a sales pitch coming? Am I buying a timeshare? Like, we just don't trust the goodwill of people anymore, because there's always seems to be an ulterior motive.
Right.
I was talking with somebody once, and they for just years they just were like at the surface all the time. And one night I just couldn't take it anymore, and so I kind of snapped. And they looked at me. They're like, "Wait a minute." They said, "Are you saying you want to know me?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I think you're worth knowing." I said, "I would like to know you, but more than that, I think you should know you."
Wow.
And a lot of times when I worked with students, when I asked that question, "Who are you?" they didn't know. And so I would hear this story, whatever brought them to me in the first place, the thing they were wrestling with or grappling with, or somebody said you should meet so-and-so. And I was fascinated by these human beings in front of me. And I would reflect that back to them, and be wowed by that. And so when somebody else, and especially when somebody comes to you and they perceive you as busy, and they're grateful for you for taking time out of your schedule to chat with them, and you're wowed by something that they said, that you remember it the next time you see them and follow up on it, then they have to look at themselves and say, boy, this really impacted him. Like, maybe I should look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reflecting back the fascination of somebody. That is beautiful.
Yes.
That is really beautiful. That's a very powerful intention to carry into, new relationships, new conversations, new connections. Is, my intention with this is to reflect back the fascination that I see in you.
Right.
That's really deep.
Yep. And they reflect on that, and they light up, and
Yeah.
And I think but it has to be genuine. And the strange thing is that when we are being ourselves, because the thing that we're doing, whatever it is that the other person might gravitate towards, because it's just us being us and it doesn't feel like work, we don't even know we're doing it, or we dismiss it. I mean, if somebody came up to you because you have a podcast or you played basketball and they're just wowed by that, and you're like, I've never known my life without a basketball in my hand. Like, to you, it's not, it might be special, but it might not be, because you can do it and have done it. Whereas somebody who wants to do it, that's why we write fan letters to people, right?
Yeah.
Man, I would love to be a news anchor. Can you tell me how you cut to commercial break? Like, and they're like, you just cut to, we'll be back in 5. Like, you just do it. To them, they're not thinking.
Right.
Because it's innate in who they are. But to those of us that don't have that or want to do that, we have to learn it. So.
If I were to ask you who is Tom Andino, what would you answer with?
Well, that was a trick question a few years ago. So my answer is supposed to be, I'm a beloved child of God, period. Because I will run the risk of not telling you who I am, but what I do and the roles that I play. But I like to think that at the heart of me is someone who is inspired by other people's stories. And I love to sit and listen to them because it changes both of us. Because it inspires me, but it impacts the person telling the story, because sometimes they say things that they have never said out loud or that they thought nobody wanted to hear. And so in them thinking that they're telling me who they are, they actually come to have a greater sense of understanding of who they are for themselves. That's been, I think, the most abundant like fruit that has come out of that listening work, that heart work that I've tried to do with people. It's transformative for both.
Absolutely.
And if you're lucky enough, then you get to do things together to impact other people. And that can be amazing. Because it's never one-sided. So,
do you remember when in your life, like that question kind of popped into your mind? And do you remember when you started to do some deep diving into that question, into yourself?
which question?
Who am I?
I mean, when you try to figure out like what you're going to do for your life, make a living and all that, it was strange for me. Like I didn't, and I still don't. I've never been the type to recognize the gifts that I have. I always approach it from like a deficit mindset. Like I don't have this, right? Well, I'm not good at math, and I'm not good at science, so that ended my meteorology career. Like, instead of paying attention to, you have a real gift for X, maybe you should look into that. And so that has flipped a lot of it, when I work with people now, to pull out from them, because they will spend an hour telling me everything they're terrible at, what their shortcomings are, how they've failed all these different people in their life. But I will go back to them and say, listen, if you're going to invite me into all that, then I want to know 3 things about you that you are really inspired by or really proud of, or things that you have overcome that you are not willing to give yourself credit for because you grew up and thought you had to be humble. Because I'll sit with you and I'll hear the bad stuff. But I want to hear the good stuff too, the stuff that you just dismiss because that's no big deal. I was like, oh, really? Like you swam Skinny Atlas Lake? It's not a big deal? I think it's a big deal. Or whatever it is, Or what they overcame that they thought they couldn't. Or we just do a bad job of celebrating milestones.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we meet it, we're on to the next thing. Or we go and we don't take time to, man, you did it. For 6 months, all I've been hearing about is how stressed you were about taking the bar exam, and you passed. Like, we need to go out to dinner and celebrate that. They're like, no, I gotta go to work, I gotta start my job. I'm like, no, time out.
Yeah. Pause.
For the last 5 years.
Right.
Or 8 years, undergrad and law school. This is a big deal. You can go to work tomorrow. You got to celebrate that win. Because when things go bad, boy, man, we will wallow in it for weeks.
So true.
So
I love what you said about the, oh no, I got to be humble. I think a lot of people confuse being humble with actually being insecure.
Yeah.
And I think there's a fine line between like, yeah, you're not being arrogant, you're not being cocky, but I don't think humility means don't celebrate yourself and don't, shine light on the amazing parts about you and your journey and the things that you've done. I think it's just the energy behind how you do it. I think somebody can tell if you're being like arrogant and cocky versus if you're genuinely just being confident and rooted in who you are and what you've, been able to accomplish or do, whatever it may be.
Right.
How do you find that balance? Because I feel like you do that well.
I think, to me, it's a village of people around you. And sometimes we are willing to give people credit when things go well. It's because of my family or you see it on the award shows, right? All the people that led me to this moment. This is for my dad who's up in heaven and my 3rd grade teacher who first taught me how to use manner or whatever it is, right? But when things are bad, people want to take that all on themselves. Like they're the only one who's ever
So interesting.
backed into a tree in a parking lot, or it was all my fault, and it was. We got to reframe that, like that. If you're gonna, we're either part of a community or we're not, right? And yes, there are times when we have to say, okay, I messed up. But to stay there, to stay stuck there, it's just not a good place to be.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That's so real. I feel like too, like a lot of times when we think of like relationships and people trying to navigate that part of their life, I think a lot of it has to do with what you said earlier about the relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
For you, like, how did you start to cultivate the relationship with yourself, fill your own cup so that you can show up for people in the right way? Was there somebody that taught you that? Was it something that you saw? Was it something that just happened organically? Maybe through, you being in a relationship, having kids, whatever it may be. Like, what really helps you to say, okay, yeah, I do need to show up for people, but at the same time, I need to make sure I'm pouring into my own cup so that I can overflow into other people.
Right. That came with time and with learning. The biggest lesson I learned from listening to all these people was the day that I realized I didn't have to do anything with it. Because some of the things that people tell you or that you hear, you want to fix it. You want to make it better. You want to make it go away. You want to make it that it never happened. And so I struggled with that a lot, and it would really zap me of all of my energy. And I would go home like thinking about one person. I'm like, this is just awful, and I can't go to work tomorrow because I'm just exhausted, and I would feel helpless. And if you're not careful, when you're in a state of feeling helpless, you could become hopeless. And that's where you get into trouble. So if you call me and you're very upset because your dog died, I don't know what to say. I can't make it better in the way that I want to, because I want to give you your dog back. And I didn't know how to, I didn't understand, because you hear this sometimes, well, just being there's enough, right? People are like, I don't want to go to the calling hours because it's awkward and I don't know what to say. But the people remember you were there. When we get out of our own way and realize it's not about you, it's about them. They're the one that lost whatever. It's about showing up for them. And that's all it's about, is showing up. It doesn't mean you have to say anything. It doesn't mean you have to bring anything. You just have to go, which can be uncomfortable. You have to go. And when I realized that 99% of the time, what people were telling me they didn't want me to do anything with, they just wanted to share it or to get it off their chest because they felt like nobody was listening or nobody cared. And that was enough. That changed my cup capacity exponentially.
That's such a good point.
To sit and listen to story after story after story, and to help in ways that I could within the means that I had. And following up with them, which shows them that, wow, you really care about me, or you're really impacted by this. And so that was a game changer. And then also recognizing when I need time alone. I'm an introvert. And so talking and engaging with people is not my strength. I can do it. But that's why one-on-one or 2x1, 2x2 is like, because I want to be able to engage and to listen and not feel like I'm frantically trying to cover the ground of everybody's life in a half hour. So deep listening. But I know that sometimes, usually like by the end of the week, by Friday, I'm like, I'm going upstairs. I just need a half an hour with nothing coming at me.
Yeah, it's important.
To just be. And to take time away. To take time away as a family, to take time away as myself, and to take time away with my friends. Because a lot of people think if I go away or if I take time for myself, it's selfish.
Yes.
Right? You have a wife and you have kids and you have jobs. Like, when I take that time, I come back better at all those things. I just come back a better human being for 24, 48 hours unplugged.
Mm.
And it makes a difference in all the relationships that I hold when I do that.
Yeah, that's good. I think it kind of goes to the notion of like, if you're not doing something, you're failing, or you're not, and it's like sometimes you just have to be okay with just like being and not doing anything and taking a step back from, whatever, situation or relationship or avenue you're trying to navigate in order to make sure you're good so you can show up in the right way.
Right.
But I think a lot of people feel guilty about that, and that's something that a lot of people have to figure out how to overcome.
Because our culture is a consumeristic culture. We are obsessed with having some output, some product.
Yeah.
Right? And yet, when we listen to music, if we're in a bad place, when we listen to music for a while and then we say, oh, I feel so much better, we're not able to see anything. We can't see our mood. But somehow, music that we can't see affected something else we can't see, and now we're in a better place. So that time is not wasted. Prayer, meditation, journaling you can see, but some of those things that we can't tangibly grasp have real benefits for us and for others if we can get out of that mindset of like, I got to get this done and then I got to get this done. And
I think a lot of it is avoidance too.
Yes.
Like, when you're always doing stuff, you're avoiding the real stuff that's being suppressed. But the moment you stop, the moment you do take space for prayer or meditation or even journaling or just sitting, a lot of stuff comes up that you're not trying to deal with.
Right.
And that could be really hard for people to kind of manage. And it's why I feel like a lot of people just are constantly trying to do stuff so they don't have to even worry about that. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's tough too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough too. I don't know if you remember, we did a podcast together, and one of these clips of you went really viral that I sent you, and it was when you said you were talking about your wife, and you were like, I may not like it, but it's important to her, and she's important to me.
Right.
So that makes that thing important to me.
Correct.
And I mean, the response that got, it was really amazing. And it really did like hit me, and it's something I constantly go back to all the time. So I kind of want to touch on that. Like, where did that mindset for you really come from, and how important is that mindset in a, intimate relationship? With whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, or wife. For cultivating a healthy foundation and things of that nature.
I think it's really important especially if it's reciprocated, right? Because there are things about other people in our lives and in relationships that we don't understand. And so we can get hung up trying to understand it, or worse than that, we can just demean it. I don't know, my wife, she's always going to the craft store. I don't know why. She's got fabric upstairs. Okay. Did you ever ask her, why are you going there? What to understand that world? Like, what is that thing that it's not something you do together, but it makes her who she is. And you profess that you love her, and I hope you have things that you do together. So it's about understanding someone and being curious. Because I have things like that in my own life. And when people understand that, when they try to understand what that is for me, that shows me that they care about me, that they might even love me, because they want to spend time understanding that. That's amazing. When people say, oh, can we drive by the house you grew up in? That's cool, right? Because they want to know where you came from. Like what makes you you?
Yeah.
And to be invited into that is amazing,
Yes.
I think. Yeah. And there are things about people and things that they do that I don't understand. But if they're important, like two of my friends play volleyball every Wednesday night, and everybody knows that I am not athletic, and I'm not going to join them.
Yeah.
But I have gone to their games
Mm.
because I hear about, oh man, Wednesday night was like a great game. Or they do this every Wednesday night at a volleyball place
Mm-hmm.
in town.
Mm-hmm.
And they're important to me. Volleyball is not. But to go and watch them play, and they're so excited to have somebody there, and they're so appreciative because it shows that you've tried to understand something that is life-giving to them.
Wow.
In the same way that, when I do lessons and carols or I'm doing stuff, like they're at things for me. And more than that, they both came to my girls' shows this year to support me in my supporting them.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
It is. That is so profound. And it really makes me think about the idea of love and what real love is. Because when you're operating from something that's way deeper than the surface, you're not looking at the external thing. You're looking at the person.
Right.
Right? Like a lot of times when, somebody's doing something or like, you may not be fond of the activity or whatever somebody's engaging in, we're so quick to look at the activity, and since we don't like the activity, we're done. We're not doing that. That's not for me. I'm not going to that. I don't want that. Rather than looking at how passionate or how much the person really gravitates towards it and going off of that. Wow, this person really gravitates towards that. This person is really passionate about that. Let me go with them for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let me go experience whatever it is that, they enjoy for them because I know how much it means to them.
Right.
And I think if we can move into that seat with relationships, intimate or not intimate, whatever it may be, it can really help to foster real, genuine connections. Because I've learned, and I tell people this a lot, like a lot of people will be like, I want to get better at communicating with people and talking to people and putting myself out there, getting out my comfort zone. A lot of people, it's hard for them to talk to strangers or just people about. Something that helps me all the time is approaching every conversation, especially with people I don't know, with a genuine sense of curiosity.
Yep.
And they can feel it right away. It's like when somebody realizes that you're actually interested in them, you're not just there to tell them about stuff you do and what you have going on. Like you're genuinely listening and engaging and asking the questions about them. People are like, whoa, like this is kind of wild. Like this doesn't happen a lot. And it really, I feel like promotes really healthy, conversations. And then, that can lead to really healthy relationships.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, and that's something that you've really helped me develop and really pay attention to is just really focusing on the other person.
Yes.
Get out of your own way. Remove your ego and step into empathy, because empathy is being able to step into somebody else's shoes, even if you don't understand it.
Right.
And that takes a lot of, I think, courage and openness.
Yep. Asking a question before you ask a question can be a softball approach to being allowed to ask a question. So if I say, you're relatively new in my life, and I don't know, I say, Isaiah, can I ask you a question? I've given you the comfort and I've given you the power to say no, to say yes, or yeah, you can ask me anything you want, but we're not talking about X, Y, Z.
That's good. I never heard of that.
Right? Like, yeah.
Even the question is incredible. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Like that, even saying it is like, it gets both people kind of like, oh, well, like that's good. I'm going to use that.
It could, you just don't know.
Can I ask you a question?
But yeah. And as relationships become more comfortable, or you learn like what the rules are or how the engagement flows, eventually you can get rid of that.
Yeah.
And you don't do it every time. Like, I'm going to ask you another question. Like, no,
okay,
like,
yeah.
But and sometimes if you ask somebody something, you really want to know what they think.
Mm-hmm.
But you can couch it as you've been wondering about. All right, I want to ask you a question because I've really been struggling with dot dot dot. Let's see. Like I'm really heartbroken today. I've really been struggling with what's happening regarding the war in Ukraine. Like, what do you do when you see stories on the news that make you feel hopeless?
Wow.
I didn't just come out and say, Isaiah, like, how do you get through tough times?
You related it.
Yes. Relate it to something else and see where that takes the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever experienced heartbreak?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
What helped you to, like, what did you learn from that period, and what helped you to navigate through that gracefully, or however you did?
Well, I mean, for me, like literal, like, heartbreak. Like, we think that our heart's broken a lot of times. It wasn't. I mean, it was hearing from a nurse, you have a 7-centimeter tumor in your right kidney and it's in your T10 vertebrae, which means it's stage 4. Like, I wasn't angry, but I cried and I felt cheated. That was the word that I used. Lisa asked me, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And, like, in the moment, I almost passed out because my whole world changed in that moment. And you start grieving what was, and you start going down the rabbit hole of grieving what might not be. That was heartbreaking. It still is. But I can't live in that space because I'm not there yet. And Sister Ann always says, this is an expression people use, don't get ahead of the grace because you're not there yet. But so often when things happen, we try to get there, or we worry about things before we're ready. Getting my oldest daughter ready to go to college a year from now. People ask, well, how are you feeling about that? Or how do you think you'll feel when you drop her off? Or how do you, right? It's all a process to get there. So I don't know how I'll feel that day. And I'm sure it will be a mixed emotion kind of day, like bittersweet. If I've been a good parent, this is what we want. This is what we have worked so hard for, right? To push her out of the nest a little bit. That doesn't mean I won't miss her, right? So there are a lot of things that I thought over the years, like, I was heartbroken about. I wasn't. I mean, it's been mostly real heartbreaking things are severed relationships that are final, usually because of death. Those suck.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
Wow. What you said about the grieving process is so profound. I've never heard it put that way. Like, you're grieving what was, but you're also grieving the future of what may not be.
Oh.
I mean, that...
COVID. I learned that during COVID because I remember looking out the window, shaving, thinking, why am I shaving? I don't have to go anywhere, but I don't want to grow a beard. And I was looking out the window, and the only thing that wasn't affected by COVID was the weather. Every day, spring in central New York, the snow would melt. This was March, April. Days would get longer. The landscape did its thing. While we're worried about, can I get the mail? Can I touch the mail? I should wipe down my groceries. We had to get gas on certain days of the week. Like, everything was affected, even when we were under isolation, but not the weather. And at that time, being involved in higher ed, the students left. They're supposed to be gone for 2 weeks, and then they didn't come back. And the longer that we were in COVID, the more I wondered, like, I wonder if I'll ever see so-and-so again. Or we should be doing X right now. And so during that time, even, like, there was a lot of grieving for things that wouldn't be. And as we thought, we're coming out of it, they canceled the state fair. Or, the dirt thing at the Dome isn't going to happen. Like, we thought we were moving on with life, and the more that happened, the more you felt like this is going to be forever. And so there was a grieving process during COVID, not just of, right, people who couldn't graduate. No first day of kindergarten, like, so many things. And so, right, you wait for 5 years to put your kid on the bus. No, we're not going to run buses for kindergartners. So there was a lot of grieving at what wouldn't be during that time period. Yeah.
To the kid out there who just got his heart broken for the first time, elementary, middle school, high school, to the person who just received some very, big news, traumatic news, heartbreaking news, like you did, to the person who, became heartbroken because they put their all into something and it didn't work out. What's a piece of advice you give to that person?
To put the comma and to reframe it and to not make it as much as you want to not make it all about you. If a young man or woman breaks your heart, instead of saying, man, there must be something wrong with me, or I'm not right, comma, for them. Somebody someday will be out there shopping for you. But it's really hard to think like that when you're in the moment, when you're in that moment. And so you take that and you learn, because it's all feedback, right? Why did the relationship fail? What was your part? What was their part? To do the self-reflection that you need to do, and to know that you're worth it and worthy enough to be in a relationship that isn't based on XYZ, that is truly unconditional, and to not sell yourself short, to not minimize yourself, and to certainly not settle. I told that to students all the time. Like, don't settle because something feels easy, or just don't do that.
Don't settle. Wow. In any aspect of life.
No, not unless you want to. Right? If you're a wild person, you're a party person, and you realize, you know what, I need to settle down.
Yeah,
I
right.
want to have a family. Then yes.
Yeah, right.
But don't believe that you can't do something if you really want to go after it. And work in whatever way you can through the process to get the answers, because the process is part of the answer. Right? When you're discerning a job, or you read a job description, you're like, man, I think I might apply, but I don't know, because if I get it, I'd have to. No, hold on, you haven't gotten it yet. Go through the process, because along the way, things will be revealed to you. Oh, this is not, in the interview, I thought it is not the job I thought it was, or I didn't like this, or I really liked that. I wonder if I could incorporate, gather the data, all of the data, to make a healthy discernment and decision. Because my MO is to always just sell myself short and find the one thing in a job description that I know I can't do, and psych myself out and not apply at all.
Wow.
I've learned that as I've gotten older. That's been a thing that I've done my whole life. I can't do this job. Who am I to even apply for it?
I mean, you failed before you even tried.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Go through the process.
Yep. Go through the process.
I think it was Matthew. You know who Matthew McConaughey is?
Yes.
The actor? He said that. He was like, it's one of my favorite sayings of his, but he was like, if you're going to do it, do it.
Right.
Don't sit back. Don't think about, oh, is it this or that? Don't, for lack of for his language, don't half-ass it. He said, if you're going to do it, just go.
Yep.
Dive.
Yep.
Jump off the cliff. See it through. Because at the end of it, it's so much better to know, nah, this wasn't it. Or, yeah, this is it. I'm going to keep going. Than sitting back and just being like, oh, yeah, I didn't try. I saw one thing. I don't think it was for me. Right. You don't think it was for you. How about you know if it's not for you or not?
Right.
Right. That's a big difference.
Yep.
What does the process of discernment look like for you in all areas of life? And how do you think, it's a three-part question. Yeah. What does the process look like for you? How do you think people can develop the muscle of discernment? And how important do you think discernment is in life?
I think it's really important. I think we have to make a distinction between discernment and decision making, because discernment is being stuck between two goods, which should make decision making a little easier for us. Right? I may be in the aisle looking at two bags of something, and I can pretty easily tell, all right, this bag of chips is worse for me than this bag of chips. Neither one are great, but am I trying to eat healthy, or do I just want the flavor? That's a decision. Right? Okay, decision made. Discernment is when you are torn between two goods and you are just really stuck. And I've heard this happen before where, people are applying for all kinds of jobs, and a job offer comes in and they have 3 days to, boy, let me talk about this with my family. And you're just excited because you have the job offer. And then another job offer came in like on day 2, which you were not expecting at all.
Yeah.
But now what do you do? All right, these are both two goods. Two places now want you. How do you discern the best fit for you? Because it might not just be the money. So you have to look at the big picture, right? And so I always start to make, and I don't journal, but I start to make lists, pros and cons. If I go here, let's see. It's 3 years until tenure instead of 4. But the commute is 40 minutes. This one's 20. And you start to look, and then what are your non-negotiables? I really need to be close to home because the kids have after-school activities.
You know this going in. You're not negotiables. That's something that people should kind of know already.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Keep going.
Right. So that is discernment to me, like being really stuck between two things that are good and trying to make the decision about that. And it requires a lot of paying attention to your gut, a lot of imagination. Like, you know what? Okay, I have 3 days to figure this out. I'm gonna write a letter, and I'm gonna say, dear so-and-so, thank you so much for your job offer. I accept. I'm gonna mail it. Now, you didn't really mail it, but you did. Like, you put it in your mailbox. Like, if your immediate reaction after that is fear and dread, that's feedback.
Wow.
Ooh, okay. Right, panic. Like, so go try it with the other letter. Oh, I felt that felt peaceful. I didn't really feel anything. What you're trying to find is peace, is contentment, is still water inside to let you know that, okay, right? I'll give you another example because it really happened. Stupid example. But we were doing a big landscape project at our house, and the landscape guy met me, and he's like, I was thinking about putting this tree over here and this tree over here. And I was like, yeah, great. That'll be great. And I saw him, fine. And I got in the car and I was driving to work, and I was like, immediately, I wasn't thinking about it. No, this is not a good decision. Drove back home. I was like, Mike, if you plant this tree here, how tall is it going to get? He's like, probably 4 feet. I said, well, what about the one over here? He's like, oh, that'll be like 8 feet tall. I said, well, the whole point of putting a tree here was to have some privacy from the neighbors off the back deck. So switch them. He's like, oh, yeah, that'll be great. Instant peace. Like, instant peace. Drove to work, didn't even think about the landscape.
Wow.
Forgot they were doing it till I got home, and I was like, oh my gosh, they planted those trees. Right? Sometimes you just know. Or you don't know, and it catches you off guard. Right? A family member one time. I wasn't there. I wasn't here for any of this. I don't know where I was, but but my wife and I literally missed the whole thing. Bought like a big truck. All I can think of is like a Bigfoot toy. It had these giant wheels and was like up off the ground. It was meant for like 4 people. And he bought this truck and he brought it over to my parents and had a panic attack, saying, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what I did." Like, he never saw it. He saw pictures of them. Never went to a dealer. Like, ordered this from some guy. He was a wreck. And so my parents said, you got to just return it. You're going to take a little bit of a loss, but return it. Like, this is not practical for you given your state of mind. I mean, he was a mess.
Done.
Right. And so he returned it, took the hit, and then went out and bought a Jeep, whatever, the Jeep Grand Cherokee or
Yeah.
whatever, you know? But sometimes we do things and we don't expect something to hit us after we've done the work, you know? So paying attention when you're faced with two goods, and to invite people in that you trust into that conversation.
Yeah.
To ask questions.
Yep.
You know, helping students. I did this not that long ago, helping a student try to figure out which law school was the best fit for him. This is a great thing. He got accepted into 2 premier law schools. So you're thinking, what's the problem?
Yes.
He didn't know where to go. And he was trying to balance pleasing his parents. They wanted him to go here. His whole life he had wanted to go to this other school if someday he was ever lucky enough to get in. And he got in, thanks to all the hard work he had done for 22 years.
Yeah.
And he knew, like, this one's going to cost me a little bit more in loans, but it's like a dream school. And it was a reach school. And he got in.
Wow.
But this is he went through the whole thing. Took months. And finally, like, he came to peace. And he's like, I'm going here. And as soon as he made the decision, the peace remained. And that's the key.
It's the key.
The peace has to stick around.
Yes. Yes. You helped me with, this new job that I got.
Yep.
With discerning that, and you really helped me to navigate that, because it was kind of, like you said, it was picking between two goods. Like, there was no wrong option with
Right.
staying in North Carolina or coming up here. It was just which one brings me more peace. And I think I just love everything you're saying. So much is running through my mind. I mean, because a lot of times when people hear the word discernment, they think in a spiritual way.
Yep.
Right. And I've found that, like, when you're really in tune and moving in purpose, moving in alignment, whatever your beliefs are, believing in a higher power, I feel like God has gifted us with emotions, with intuition, with those gut feelings in order to listen to them. But I think we have such a skewed perspective or a bad relationship, with our emotions and how we feel internally, or we don't know how to trust ourselves. So we feel those things, but it's like we're waiting for, like, a voice to be like, this is right, this is wrong. And so it causes so much overthinking, anxiety. But like you're able to listen to what's going on and know, nah, this is not right, or this is right. And I've seen in my own life with people closest to me, like, how when you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, a healthy relationship with your emotions, you don't have a safe space here, it causes so much anxiety. So it's like you're waiting, to hear God give you a very clear answer, and you're neglecting what you're feeling or what's going on internally, and you're just stuck in this middle ground, and it's horrific. And that's low-key, not low-key, high-key. That's how you get involved in situations, relationships, careers that you genuinely don't like. You have no peace in.
And that's not from God, right? If we're using religious language, we talk about consolation and desolation.
Okay.
If you're feeling anxious, unsettled, frantic, you're not eating, you're just worried all the time, that's desolation. If you feel peace and contentment, and you're in a place where, you know what, I don't know if this is going to work out, but I'm going to take the first step.
Yeah.
Like, that's consolation. That's from God. In lay people language, we'll use the term like highs and lows, or lights and shadows.
What's lay people mean?
Like, just take religious out of it.
The normal,
Right?
everyday person. Yeah.
Like,
gotcha. Okay.
boy, what about looking at these two things really lit me up inside? Where were the highs in that? And boy, where did I feel like, if I go over here, I've got to, like, do a budget report? Like, where did I just feel my energy get zapped? Like, and the other thing that we forget is that we can undo the decision. So when I was trying to figure out, when I had a job offer a year ago, it happened so strangely and so organically. Somebody just literally offered me a job, and I was like, so I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, I think you should do it. I was like, why? He's like, well, because you're not doing anything else. And you're working, it's good people, the people. And if it's not a good fit, put in notice and leave. I couldn't see that though.
Right.
I was just wrapped up in the, can I do this? Like I was 4 years ahead. Am I
Right.
going to be able to deliver the final outcome? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you're a bridge builder. Maybe you're here for a time to move it 2 steps forward. So that was helpful
Yeah.
that they had the freedom to say, I think you should take it, and be able to tell me why.
Yeah. It's like when we make decisions, we feel stuck.
Right.
Always. I mean, obviously, take it with a grain of salt. There's certain things that, if you have a kid or
Yes.
something like that, yeah,
Yes.
okay, like,
Yes.
that's different. But, like, there are a lot of decisions where it's like, people make them and it's like, end all be all. This is it. This is my life now. I'm stuck. And if you don't like it, it's like, well, so what?
Right.
But what you're saying is you're challenging that and saying, no, like, if you make a decision and you find out along the process that this ain't it, and you have the ability to step somewhere else, do that.
Pivot. That's the word I use.
Pivot and adapt. I love that. Pivot and adapt. But it's just, if you don't trust yourself, because I don't think, and I've been not wrestling, but navigating this idea, but I don't even think, and we can have a conversation about this. I don't know if it's possible to trust God if you don't trust yourself. I really don't. Like, I really don't, because I think everything you do externally is just an expression of what you got going on internally. The people I know who have trust issues or who struggle with relationships or who struggle with connection and stuff, when I see them, it's a vivid, like, it's very apparent that the relationship with themselves is not strong. They don't trust themselves. They're constantly, questioning their decisions. They're constantly thinking all the time,
Right.
And so I feel like it's, a lot of people, man, they're really striving for peace and clarity and just understanding without going down the path of like cultivating that internal relationship, that internal journey, the thing that you have been blessed with.
Right.
God gave us this vehicle, this vessel for a reason. Tap into it.
Yep.
And so I just feel like so much suffering and frustration in life comes from neglecting what you do have control over and focusing all of your energy on what you don't have control over and trying to change the thing you have no control over without ever even touching the thing you do have control over.
Right.
That's a recipe right there for a life of misery.
Right.
Do that if you want to be miserable.
Right. And I'm not here to judge anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But is religion or is God a crutch or is God a collaborator in your life? We can get into trouble when we treat God like a vending machine. When things are bad, it's like, God, you got to give me bop. Or I really need you to deliver this. And then when things are good, God's out of sight, out of mind. Because when we look at God as a creator who thought, okay, I've built all these things, I've designed these things, I've brought the world into existence, but I need an Isaiah Salter. When you recognize that, so why did God feel the need to create you? And how does he want to collaborate with you? Because he gave you a toolbox that is only Isaiah Salter's toolbox. And God's like, okay, Isaiah, if you find me, like this is what we're going to do.
That's good.
And his grace will be there every step of the way. When you are in tune, right? Like we talked about before, not with who you aren't, but who you are. Because the human condition, the brokenness of our fallen world is for you to look at other people and say, oh man, I'm not him. I can't start a podcast. I don't know what CJ knows about this camera stuff. So we don't do anything. Because by looking at him, you're not looking at, but God did give me this gift of deep thinking, of meditation, of having a patient spirit to wait for things to be revealed. When you start tapping into that, and you think, oh, maybe those gifts could be in service to other people.
Yes.
Maybe I should ask CJ to come along and do this.
Literally.
Then you collaborate with him.
Yep.
And you're collaborating with God.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. That's
It's a game changer.
Yeah, it is.
It's a game changer to think that, yeah. But we know that from the scriptures that God wanted to be in relationship with us. So he sent his son to walk among us. Like, it's pretty obvious that he didn't want to be detached up in the sky. So what do you have, and why are you here? Because if we're just building for this earth and just getting by, it's pointless. I've never seen, somebody told me this the other day, they said, I've never seen a hearse on its way to the cemetery followed by a U-Haul truck.
I heard that from Denzel. Yeah, you never see a U-Haul behind a hearse.
Yep.
That's real. That's real.
So give it away while you're here.
Right. And it really does have a lot to do with, like, just tuning inward. You know, that's why I'm so passionate about the personal development, self-discovery journey, because there's so much within you to unpack, you know, and a lot of it is going down the process of just letting go and removing everything that isn't you so that you can express what is already there. It's not about getting more, attaining more, achieving more. It's just being rooted in who you actually are, you know, and you have to remove all the stuff that's blocking that, you know, and that's the work.
And it's hard to not, that's what's so hard about job interviews, I think, right? You're there because you kind of have to sell yourself.
Yeah.
But it's so awkward because the whole rest of our life we're told, don't brag.
Isn't that wild?
Know? But we see the stuff on social media. Everybody's like selling a product at the end of whatever they're pitching. I see so many protein people and they're all trying to sell me something. Nobody really genuinely cares about my health unless I buy their protein supplement, I've noticed. But I could get in front of a camera and say, listen, if you want to have a conversation with me, like, I guarantee you, it will change you. It will change your life. Because I have evidence from all these years where one encounter with somebody has had a deep impact on both of us. Mm-hmm. But you have to come to that organically and take the risk with the people whose lives move around you, you know? To not be afraid, because the worst thing that could happen is they could say no. Man, could we go to dinner tonight? I really want to, I'd like to get to know you better, or I would love to talk about XYZ or whatever. They could say no. Move on. But we're more afraid that they're going to say yes. And we're like, okay. Yeah.
What is it? It's not. What's that? That poem? It's not. We don't fear that we're inadequate. We fear that
our deepest fear.
Our deepest fear
is not that we're inadequate.
It's that we're powerful, but not
beyond all measure.
Yeah, isn't that? It's so real.
Yeah,
it's so real, because that's what they say. They say your fear is Will Smith said that. He said on the other side of fear is everything you could ever imagine. You know, fear is not the enemy. It's our relationship and perspective on it. You know, and if you learn how to view fear as a signal to the deepest parts of you that want to be expressed, it can change your life.
Yep.
It can change your life. So much. I mean, you're going to be back on, no question. So there's so much for us to talk about. Now we're going to move into the portion of the podcast where we go through a couple of quotes, and I want to get your, insight or just whatever comes into your mind when you hear it. Okay. First one is, connection is why we're here. It is what gives purpose and meaning to our lives. Brene Brown.
I agree. Because that will dictate who we spend our time with, what we spend our money on, where we show up. Yeah.
That's good.
We have it backwards.
Go ahead.
We have it backwards most of the time. We go to work, we get our kids to different things, and then, well, if we meet people along the way, fine. Rather than the other way around, which is what she's saying. Like, connection is at the heart of it, which makes all the rest of it worth it.
That's really good. Flipping the order.
Yes.
So real.
Yeah.
So real. I love that. The next one is, Oh, this one's interesting. I want to know. Loneliness and the feeling of being unwanted is the most terrible poverty. Mother Teresa. Wow. Wow.
Spiritual poverty.
Mm.
Yeah. Yep. We could do a whole thing on that someday.
We will.
When people, the thing that I saw a lot with college students was when they would feel alone. But I saw them moving within friend groups, and I would say, "Well, do you have friends?" And they said, "Oh yeah, I have so many friends." But if I would ask, "Well, who really knows you?" then that would reveal, oh, they had a lot of people they were friendly with, or they knew a lot of people, but what they were longing for was to be known, which is different. Because just because I say, you're my friend, that doesn't give me permission to say that you're mine. Only you get to do that. Does that make sense? But
Absolutely.
we think that, well, if I say hi to you and we're friendly, we're friends.
Yo, that's deep, Tom.
But we're not.
Yeah, that's deep.
So it is. But it's so simple. It's simple and complex because I may have invited you into my life. That doesn't mean that you have invited me into yours. And when that happens, connecting, mattering, and belonging happens, and if that happens, I feel seen.
That's so profound. And I think it's why so many people get caught up when people don't do what they would do in a situation, or don't do to them what they would do to them. Like, how could they do that to me? Or how I would never do that to them. And it's like, you have to understand, when you invite somebody into your life and you say, I'm going to show up for you in this way, that doesn't mean they're going to do that for you.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and I think what's really tough is when you take, when you project onto other people that they should be acting exactly how you're acting. That's the first thing, because everybody's their own individual person, and you want people to show you their true colors so you know who's for you and who's not.
Right.
But I think it could just cause so much heartbreak and inner just harm when you move through life thinking that people should do exactly to me what I'm doing to them, rather than approaching every relationship, every connection, every interaction as, no, I'm going to create a space to where this person can be themselves so that they can show me all of who they are, and I can know, is this person for me or not? And if they're not, I'm not going to take that personal. You know, I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to still show up for people in the way I know I want to show up, but they show me that's not going to be reciprocated, I'm going to pivot.
Right.
You know? But we take it so personal.
You have to give grace to the different relationships in your life, because if
Yeah.
you want them to all be the same, that's not going to ever happen. You also can't be afraid to ask for what you need.
Especially in intimate relationships. Yeah, talk that.
Right? Like,
Talk that talk.
ask for what you need, and what are things that there has to be some kind of understanding about, like non-negotiables. But remind me what you just said again.
The quote or what I just
What
said?
you just said.
You don't have to take it personal. That
Go back farther.
we were talking about, I was saying like don't, I was talking about how like you should show up for people the way that you want them to show up.
yes.
But don't expect
that they do the same.
Yes.
Right, because that gets to the heart of the love languages. Right? Where this is why people have to build relationships in ways that are comfortable for them. Right? Don't read a book and then follow the 10 steps. And everybody's going to be like, this is not authentic. It's kind of creepy, right? What is authentic for you?
Yeah, you're hitting
Right?
now.
If you can't talk about your feelings, but you can write them, send a letter, or you can express yourself thoughtfully through a text message, do that. Like, do things that are comfortable for you, and recognize that that might not be the other person's language. Like, some people need quality time. Some people need words of assurance. Some people need physical gifts, right? I like to give gifts. I don't need gifts anymore. Mm-hmm. But that's still my default sometimes, because it's not just, oh, you said like you needed new socks, I got you socks. Like, there's a deeper connection, usually through a gift that I might find for somebody. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that I need you to give me one. And that's what happens. So often we get in this like, well, you know, like he spent $10 on me when we went out for like drinks. But so now what? Do I have to buy him a $10 drink next time? Like, stop it. If that's not your thing, there are other ways to appreciate people and to value people.
Yeah.
And all those relationships are going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to be aware of that.
You do. Yeah, you absolutely, that's so right. And you want to be around people who understand that as well, so you can have that communication.
Right.
You know, because you need to have the ability to communicate, hey, I'm this way, you're this way, let's figure out, you know, hey, I don't really like that, or you kind of operate that way. Communication helps kind of bridge that gap. But we don't communicate, and we push all the things that we do see aren't really aligned under the rug because of the chemistry or the spark.
Right.
You know, and we want to just keep it. Or because we're so lonely, and we'd rather be around people, even if they're not aligned, than be alone.
Yep.
You know, and I've seen that a lot. And a lot of people fear, for good reason.
Right.
A lot of people fear loneliness. But at the same time, isolation is where so much growth happens.
Right. And then people start to change their colors like a chameleon to try and feel like they fit in those situations. So when they leave at the end of the night, sometimes they actually feel more alone than before they got there because they weren't being their true selves. And that can be a slippery slope.
Yep.
Yeah.
They say the greatest loneliness is not when you're in a room alone, but it's when you're surrounded by many people and there's no connection. Right. And you feel like a fish out of water.
Yep.
You know, that's so real.
Yep.
That's so real. The last one by Harriet Lerner says, only through our connectedness to others can we really know and enhance the self.
That's true. I think that the way that we learn about ourselves is through other people, which is really hard, especially now for younger people, because the phone doesn't give the feedback. And I don't think phones are bad, but I think because we spend so much time on them and we don't interact with people like I did growing up, we don't get the feedback where we didn't have that. And so any feedback you got was from real people in your life who would say, man, Isaiah, you're really good at that. How'd you do that? Or how long did it take you to learn that? And you're like, well, my friend thought I was pretty good at that. We don't hear that today.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, and I use this joke all the time, but people have told me I'm a good listener. I get that. I needed people to tell me that because I don't listen to myself.
Right.
Right? In order to be a good listener, I have to have someone to listen to.
You're right.
My phone didn't just tell me, your screen time is down. I think you're being a good listener today.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You know. So we need other people to become ourselves.
We do.
We do.
It's not like dependency. It's not dependency, but it's like it's a collaboration with other beings who are all part of the collective. You know, we're all here for a reason.
Yep.
You know.
And that's what college students need to hear.
Yeah.
That especially first year and second year students, when they are looking for a place to belong, that we can't grow connection like grass. So when you're in your room feeling like you don't know anybody, wondering why nobody calls you, you're also contributing to the problem because you're not being part of the solution, doing that for somebody else. And if you're feeling lonely or like insignificant, text one person. Hey, like, I was thinking about you. How's your day going? And see what comes back to you.
Feedback. Yeah.
Because you might find that you're not that alone, but somebody has to make the first move. And we get in our own way. We're like, oh, I can't text them. They'll think I'm weird.
Yep.
Really? Because
Yep.
everybody I've asked, like, what was that like to receive that message? Like, I can't believe they were even thinking about me.
Dang.
Like, it was 9 o'clock on a Friday night. That's how you do it.
You're right. Absolutely right.
So what you're looking for, you're actually part of the solution if you'll get out of your own way. Because the college doesn't need to create more programming. Students are over-programmed as it is.
You're right.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. We definitely got to talk.
People are programmed. People are the new program.
Yep.
I'm convinced.
Yep. That's good. Yeah, we're gonna dive into that on a whole nother episode for sure. Okay, so we have a segment at the end of each podcast called Your Final Grains, which are 5 quick rapid fire questions to finish off with. So
Okay.
yeah, quick responses, quick questions, quick responses.
Okay, I'm going to give you a quote, though,
Okay.
since you gave me all those quotes.
Okay.
Because everybody knows, or you know, Fred Rogers.
Yeah.
We're talking about this. If you could only sense how important you are to the lives of the people you meet, there is something of yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person. Think about that. That's amazing. That someone who doesn't know that they impacted your life that day, or whose life you impacted that you'll never hear about. And we don't hear about it. I read it sometimes online, like with people that went to Disney and they're like, if anybody knows such and such a person, they did such and such for me. I hope they see this.
Yeah.
They put it out there.
Yeah.
So that's what happened when you left my office the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was such an impact on me, but I wasn't expecting it.
Vice versa.
Right. Like,
Was
that's
not
a beautiful
expecting-
thing.
It is.
Yeah.
The most unexpected things in life are the most beautiful.
Absolutely.
Truly. Okay. Your final grains. 1. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Superpower. I would love to be able to fly.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Number 2. What's one perspective or belief you used to hold but now have outgrown?
That people complicate my life.
What's something you think most people misunderstand about relationships?
That it's about them getting what they need.
That's good. Grain number 4 is, what's something you think every kid should learn as they grow up?
How to talk to people. How to talk to adults.
That's good. And the last grain is, if you could make everyone in the world stop and reflect on one question, what would it be?
Who are you?
Tom Andino?
And what difference do you make? Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's good. Yeah.
Tom Andino, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks
Seriously.
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good to be back.
We will definitely be back here soon. So,
Yeah.
appreciate you.
You got it.
Yes, sir.